attacker. Seconds to go. Win.
Hello everybody, how are you all doing tonight? I for once hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. As always, we will have a matchup tonight. I mean, that was to be expected, wasn't it? Our matchup is going to be of two singular, really good teams. Vendetta Esports, formerly known as Unique Esports, and of course Hostile Actions. I have just sent the map ban links to the players, and it's just going to be, a few moments before they start banning. Shouldn't be too long. Both teams were there. Said to me, alright, let's just copy and paste the link I sent to the one player to the actual team coach, it would be. There you have it. And yeah, like I said, the map ban should be underway pretty quickly. So you know what, let's jump into that scene right about now. Properties also, by the way, why is this not working well if I hit OK? Yeah, okay. For some reason, OBS was returning an error where there is none. Yes, so we are ready to do the map bans basically whenever. By the way, Fond, you do have first ban. And the interesting thing here is these two teams are really good. These two teams are tied, are really well placed at the top of the rankings. So both teams will be fighting basically for the best seeding possible for the beginning of the playoffs, which is going to be starting not next week, but the week directly after that. And that will make things extremely interesting for us, in my opinion at least. So, It seems like the players have realized. I just had to tell them, oh, hey, guys, by the way, you do have first ban. Now that they know this, Vendetta Esports will be in a position to do start with the map ban. If I was just to take a look at the historical data, Vendetta, they played yesterday on Clubhouse, and they won, I want to say by the skin of their teeth. It was fairly close. The victory wasn't to be taken for granted. That was for sure. They were in a 6-3 situation, being disadvantaged, and they had to, get the comeback and get the clutch done. So if we were to go off of recent memory, it looks like they have a iffy yet reliable track record on Clubhouse. It's a really well-known map at this point. It might even be somewhat stale, which might be both a good and a bad thing, because of course if it becomes stale, you know what to expect. As a player, not being surprised has its fair share of gold, or is worth its weight in gold. That would be a French expression which I'm translating word for word. It's worth a lot not to be not to be surprised, or not to be caught off guard at any point in the competition, right? Whereas Hostile Actions also, of course, they are a great team on Clubhouse. They were able to beat Mishmash beat them. Did they beat Mishmash? I couldn't. My note taking isn't as exhaustive as I'd like it to be. But one thing is for sure. Looking at the maps here, or the map bans rather, Coastline will be the first one to disappear. So not too surprising on that front. And I don't know if this is exactly Vendetta Esports' play, but some teams will ban, I want to say, the average maps, forcing the other team, the opposing team, to ban the outright horrible maps. And by doing this, you kind of control more or less which map you're going to end up playing, by forcing your opponent's hand. And when I was in a team myself, I'm not really a player anymore. I do basically nothing but casting. Even in ranked, I'm not yet ranked. Haven't played 10 ranked games since the beginning of the season. Sounds pathetic. It might even be it to some extent. But what I want to say is, when I was in a team and when we were employing that strategy, it worked fairly well, I gotta say. Of course, some teams will catch you off guard. Some teams will surprise you. But for the majority of the time, we ended up, getting our way. And that was kind of nice, actually, to be able to outbrain or outthink your opponent in such a simplistic way, ultimately. But with all that being said, the map bans, of course, are continuing. Oregon would not be one of the two favorite maps, so it's not too surprising, or actually it's not surprising at all that it gets taken out of the picture so early. Followed by a Villa ban. So at this point, which maps are remaining? I was going to say theme park. Cafe and Clubhouse. Out of Cafe and Clubhouse, I would say Hostile Actions are fairly likely to pick Club. Cafe is still, a good map. Well liked. I gotta say, it's not openly hated or anything along those lines. But it's still no Clubhouse, right? And there we have it. Without any surprise in the world, Club is going to be our pick. And let's see who is going to start attacking, who's going to start defending. That choice, obviously, is going to come to Vendetta Esports. What will they be deciding? They want to start on the blue side, actually. Quite interesting. You don't see this choice being made every single time. Most teams would prefer to begin on defense. But I hear Vendetta Esports are more, I want to say, confident with their pushes than with their defenses, which is something you don't see every day, to be honest. I myself, for example, prefer defending a heck of a lot, because you are the one that kind of sets the pace, right? You decide where to reinforce, where to put the utility, goo mines, Valkyrie cameras, barbed wire, and then the attackers have to adapt to that. So they're inherently disadvantaged because they don't know what's going to be coming, what's to be expected. That's what the drones are for, but then they get shot down, or some piece of utility can counteract that. And we can get into, the meta of the game in great depths. But I don't think we're going to be doing that tonight, as the players are already joining in. And it won't be too long before we are ready to start the game. So, blue team will be named Vendetta Esports. There we have it. Fawn is there saying stand hands. Fawn, how are you doing? Hostile Actions will be the name of the other team. And they are also joining in. Hi, Fawn, how are you doing?
Oh, good man. How are you?
Wow, you sound tired.
It's been a long day today.
Oh gosh, I hope for your sake it's not going to be affecting your performances too much.
I don't believe it will.
Well, that's the good news, or bad news if you're rooting for hostile actions. Speaking of which, hey JD, how are you doing?
Hey, Just, peux-tu dire à... Hey, Just, peux-tu dire à Sim de move Yo It's Legs, puis moi
Okay,
puis l'autre
it
gars, là.
looks like they need to get their Discord server figured out because they're asking each other to move some people in their server,
En
and
fait,
that's
dis
not the kind
juste
of
le
stuff you
move
wanna
Yo
have.
It's
We
Legs.
don't have.
Ça va
during-
notre motivateur sportif. Il va nous faire un speech. Puis laisse-moi faire une TM, je viens de me cool. Je reviens.
Okay, so you may have picked up on T Hunt. Apparently, Zag just logged in, so he's just gonna be, performing one quick little terrorist hunt before jumping into into the game here. So he still needs to warm up a little bit. Let's just hope it won't be putting us too much behind schedule, because for the time being, we're right on track. That's actually nice to see. I mean, right on time. The map bans begin. They do take a few minutes, but that's to be expected. And at that rate, by 9:10 actually the match might still begin, so that would be great compared to yesterday where it was Arsenal Esports. They had kind of forgotten the match was set to begin, and then they had to scramble a composition or a team together at the last moment, and that of course was not too ideal. They came really close to winning, by the way, and that surprised me because they were basically a glorified pickup team. It didn't work out. Still, yesterday was quite a situation. Toothless Mage saying, yeah, I guess I'll screw myself. Toothless, why would you do that? Why would you do that? So, hey chat, I know there aren't too many of us in chat right now. Coaches can play too. Yeah, of course. Of course. Coaches can play too. I don't mind if the coaches play, to be honest. Because at some point, of course, I mean, this is supposed to be a serious high-level competition or reasonably high-level competition, and we do make sure to keep, the integrity of the competition intact. But other than that, more importantly, I want the matches, or not more importantly, but secondarily, I do still want to, do what I can to make sure that the matches actually get played. It would be, I want to say, just obnoxious or annoying if I was to nitpick on any or on every single tiny little detail in the rules just to make sure that the matches don't get played, to say, oh, you're an infraction of that obscure little rule or anything along those lines. So I am quite permissive as long as it does not impact the, like I said, integrity of the competitions. That's the most important thing, singular most important thing. So we now have 9 glorified players in. Like I said previously, Zag was in the game lobby. He left because he wants to get one terrorist hunt under his belt to warm up properly. So he's there. He will join in as soon as he's done pretty quickly. The last question, Pickles Patriots. Patriots the last one, isn't he? No, Pickle Pats, that's Patriots. Why? Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Who's the last? The hell's JD. My memory's failing me. Who's their last player? Couldn't remember me. Couldn't tell you. No, it doesn't really matter. They'll be logging in pretty quickly. I am sure of that. God damn it! I will learn to breathe without breathing in saliva. That would help to not cough up in the middle of a casting. This map right here, Clubhouse. What can we expect coming off of it? What kind of map is Clubhouse? That would be a great question you ask, and the answer would be fairly simple. Limbo is here. So yeah, I was gonna ask, are you guys ready? Pickles and Hostile Actions seem to be ready. Vendetta, are you ready? Are your mosses running?
Yep.
That was Pickle talking. I just want to make sure. Wait, okay, no worries. They're just typing single letters in the chat here. All right. Well, wait, that was. Oh, that was all about. Okay, good. So, good luck, have fun, and you know the drill. May the best team win. And without further ado, let's jump right into the tournament, into the match. This map right here, like I said previously, is becoming somewhat stale. It is, repetitive. That is absolutely certain. And at this point, since we know what to expect, it's not really the question of who can get the best, I want to say, composition or strategy underway, since basically every single strat is known. It's actually more a question of who can execute the same push but better than their opponents. And that is going to be the actual contest here, and that's one to which I couldn't, give the answer to beforehand. Of course, that's the point of the competition. But one thing is for sure, it looks like the operator bans are going to go to make sure that hard breaching is impeded as much as possible. Thatcher here is likely to be banned. If not, maybe a Montang, but that would surprise me. Exactly, Thatcher, without any surprises in the world, Thatcher will be our ban. Nizo, by the way, hello, how are you doing? Welcome on the chat, man. Is that Limbo from Hostile Action? Limbo? Limbo's a player here on the roster? I don't know exactly what you're referring to. So, here, of course, it kind of goes both ways. The hard reaching capabilities will be severely impeded by those two attack operator bans, but then the defense will also have a harder time protecting the reinforced walls, because Cade will also be taken out of the picture. Cade can be really good on two fronts. First of all, of course, right, the hatches, and Echo also, of course. First of all, the hatches. The hatches, when they're electrified by an Artilla Electro Claw, there's next to nothing the attack can do to deny that, considering or assuming Thatcher has been banned, which in that case he is. So you'd have to either send it a twitch, which is not really feasible, for example, for a moto hatch, because the floor isn't destructible. And the other thing that's really good here is that you can also use the electric claws on CCTV, which will be our first defense, by the way, to electrify the wall, but from the next room over, the main exterior half roof wall, which will make it so that underneath that electric claw, that is one room in the red corridor, actually, well, then the floor is no longer destructible. So Zofia, IQ, Buck can no longer just, or even Ash, can no longer just destroy it from beneath. And that renders the gadget extremely potent. Alright, and you could toss the second one in those TV monitors, which would also, make it fairly difficult to destroy from beneath because of the metal shelving. So that would be it on that front. Let's take a look at the actual defensive setup here from Hostile Actions, by the way. Bada is back. Bada is back. Salut à toi. Comment ça va? Okay. Looking at the match here. We're going to be having, of course, a top floor control. JD, for some reason, not replacing his reinforcements. You also do have Zag right here. He did just place a camera up there. He is unlikely to stay put on the actual shelf. However, he will be jumping down, and here Vendetta will be spawning in. Raviol, spam this smile to help Hostile. Raviols is absolutely supporting the team. Not that you do have, a bias, but you are the coach for Hostile Actions, so it absolutely does make sense that you will be rooting for them. Devils has played quite aggro. He received a few bullets worth of damage dealt to him by, I believe it was Autobot, right? Nothing too major, but he still lost, a bit of health, and he will have to use up his first stim shot at the beginning of the game. So, minor losses at this point. Vendetta will also be looking at destroying the bandit battery, so of course Austin will be ensuring from that point here, and there is no roamer except Pickles, but Pickles for the time being is quite far away, and Fawn will be likely to drone him out. Yeah, Pickles has been spotted here. Of course, he can no longer just challenge Austin. It would be too dangerous. So what can you do instead? You have to, go downstairs or escape from your opponent's detection, because if not, they will be waiting for you and they will be ready. Gian has also been able to open up, the top row here, but by the reinforced wall. So that can be quite dangerous. He is going to see Gecko saying, HA dog shit, no cap. Yeah, let's see if they win. If they win, they won't be dog shit. If they lose, well, maybe. One thing is for sure, Devils here does like himself a nice little smiley face. Are those eyebrows? Are those ears? Are those ears? Okay, but yeah, so one thing is for sure, the opening here being made doesn't really matter too much because he's not going to be exposed from this specific angle. It looks like Autobot, though, has been successful in breaching that wall right here. And Limbo will be the first one to hold the angle, it looks like, as he does not have the best range in the world with his gun, and JD is going to be receiving a lot of damage dealt from beneath. It looks like Pickles was able to get a kill, and Austin here will be looking for another one. I will allow myself to be distracted, because le match qui est en ce moment devant vous est charnière autant que notre développement il se passe sur le principe du match. What? Soyez sans crainte. Yes, il est important de savourer chaque seconde qui passe et toucher sans soyez sans crainte, maintenant espoir comme mais c'est une chose certaine, le match est en haut sur pouvoir guider derrière elle. Nizo, I am not sure what you're getting at, but it looks like you're happy and sure of yourself, so that is, you know, being quite confident is really important in life, I gotta say. But with all that being said, you know, I missed out on the few moments of the action here. 2v2 situation, it is going to be Toothless Mage getting the kill on Zag. Limbo, just the last player alive, gets the first shot. 4 seconds, he just has to survive. He misses the shot! And Vendetta Esports will win round number 1. How unfortunate. Toothless Mage here, getting a kill he was not at all supposed to have. At that range, the shotgun should have just destroyed him. And that was somehow not the case. Unfortunate. Let's go for those replays. And Nizo s'est inventé. Je trouve que mon franc-parler et mon détachement dans mes paroles montrent ma maturité. On va faire comme moi. Ça a été un succès. Yeah, like I said, you are really confident. Because, like, I'd like to just, you know, sit and chat with you, but this is not, you know, the right just talking stream or just chatting type of stream. Where I can just, you know, read and have a lengthy conversation with the with the chat here. So that's why my responses are quite Spartan. But still, it is interesting because that kind of energy you don't see every day in a Twitch chat. So after having lost by the skin of their teeth, but still having lost, Hostile Actions will attempt basically the same defense with, as far as I can tell, the exact same team composition. So you'll be seeing once again Pickle and Devils reinforcing both of these walls right here. Garage will be somewhat harder to take thus, but of course the attackers will still have a Hibana, so nothing too major. Will Jaeger be roaming again? Because he was, you know, somewhat successful and got a kill. Oh, and looks like here JD was unsuccessful in spotting the drone. Unfortunate, because he was definitely out for blood. There's no reason except to shoot down the drone for him to run in that room. It looks like he'll be caught off guard. JD losing a lot of health. Nothing, you know, overly dramatic or nothing irrecuperable, because of course Devils here will heal him up. But just like last round, even though it's not the same player, a stim pistol shot will be used extremely early into the round, and it will not have been traded, you know, in a face-to-face firefight against Vendetta or anything along those lines. So it's really just unfortunate across the board, with a huge ban wave happening as we speak. We will have Vendetta just doing basically the same opening moves as last time. So opening up the top row here just to have a narrow line of sight. Nobody is there, but still, you know, pre-fires are going to be underway. Toothless here on sub-roof, holding the angle. He could open up the window, but no, he'll be inserting himself through gym. Looks like nobody is going to be there to contest this. So those are the good news. The bad news is we just heard a... there it was. We just heard one of Fawn's air jabs being detonated. It was Pickles being thrown on his back. Nobody was right here to contest him though, so he didn't get shot at immediately. That's the good news. So basically, you know, considering he did blow up Fawn's utility, he didn't get punished for doing so, right? So that is basically depleting the attacker's utility without, you know, suffering too much in turn. Limbo is definitely the point man here, receiving some amount of pressure. Those flash grenades will not be dealing too much damage to him, or, you know, will not be impacting him too much. And he's still holding the angle. Toothless on his end is rushing him through garage. So now it's going to be Devils basically in a tough situation. He is going to be alone here. No one really can help him out. I mean, maybe Xaga has one of those evil eyes But ultimately, Devil is just lucky to not have been flashed, because if not, he likely would have been gunned to death in short order. That flash grenade will not be incapacitating Pickles either, and he might even want to run out here, but it looks like Autobot is ready for this, so he was like turning around, not paying too much attention. And in the meantime, Gian was able to open up the reinforced wall, and now has basically a good line of sight on OBJ. He is not going to run in there, heads down, because of course that would be a suicide mission, but he is still holding the angle. So Devils has just overhealed himself, so he is in a firefight. That was his last stim shot. Austin also just got a kill on Pickles, so that was your only roamer now taken off the board. Vendetta are therefore no longer going to be surprised too much. Autobot really low on health now with 15 seconds. The attackers will have to rush in. Toothless, you're going for the kill. That's just not going to work. They have to try it a second time. Sophia's going to be a bit more to the right. How did you miss that? Unfortunately, the fuser now is going to get planted. Smoke, is he going to be able to deny the plant here? Fortunately not. And right here, there's going to be an immediate refrag, which will be itself refragged immediately as well. No, 2v1 situation. Austin is going to have to hold the angle, and he is low on health. Things are not looking too good for him. And of course, he dies. Therefore, it is going to be Hostile Action's turn to win a round and to keep the score tied. It looks like both teams can win this with difficulties, basically. Last round, it was a 1v2 situation, which didn't get clutched, but it was the predictable outcome. Yet a close outcome, yet a tied round. This time around, Diffuser got planted, so of course the defense was on the back foot for a moment, but they were able to regain control of bomb sites. So ultimately, like I said, both teams are showing themselves worthy to win a round or two, that is for sure, but neither team is showing to be, decisively better than their opponents. Therefore, a back and forth seems somewhat likely, and therefore, by extension, an overtime situation wouldn't be too surprising. I know we're still in the early stages of the game, so anything can still happen, and when I'm analyzing what I've seen so far, my sample is really small, so I might be prone to mistake if I was to, exclusively rely on that strategy or on that way of thinking. But one thing is for certain, that match is looking really interesting right about now. Okay. Let's take a look at this. So, être optimiste, c'est capable de développer une pensée positive dans les moments de désespoir ou de déprime, les épreuves de la vie nous envahissent. Imagine jouer Juvie T2 vidange. Mon ami, croire en soi, c'est avoir fait la moitié du chemin de la réussite. That is so true. That is so true. Okay. Okay. So Hostile Actions, of course, they wanted the top floor. They now have to go on the basement area because you don't expect them to go in bedroom and bar. We don't even talk about. That composition is of course going to evolve and to adapt to the new bomb site. You'll be seeing JD this time forfeiting the Maestro's Evil Eyes, but he is going to be using those pesky jammers to minimize the amount of intel Vendetta can be taking on the attackers. Gian right here apparently breaching, opening up the wall. Not contesting it too much apparently, so Limbo could have maybe rushed in or rushed behind the opening like crazy aggressive. That's not gonna happen. So there you have this. In the meantime, Toothless Mage here is going to be breaching and entering in from the top floor, but as you can see real quick, there is no roamer by the defense. So taking top floor control, though it is still important, it's ultimately going to be a trivially easy task for the attackers, and a redundant, say, movement situation, because, Toothless being at the top floor, just making sure everything is safe, he is ultimately wasting time because nobody's going to be there to challenge him or to provide resistance. So, it seems like a Nitro Cell has been prepared. Devils here was there ready to respond to a challenge, but none actually came, And for the time being, even though Kitchen has been opened up quite extensively, no push or no actual, attempt will be made from that angle. Gian, or was it Autobot? It was Autobot. Just open up, a few hatches here and there. Moto hatch has been opened. Now it's going to be also the kitchen hatch that is breached. So a lot of openings, a lot of angles are not ready for the attackers. The final question is basically which way will they be coming from, and that will be the $1 million question basically. You do see Fond and Gian right here by Moto Hatch. dropping down there would be quite interesting, would be quite reasonable, but ultimately, if you do it, you know, the wrong way, it would be a suicide mission. So, John better not pushing on his own. That is why you see Austin right here, probing blue. There is going to be Pickles right here. So he could also be a tough nut to crack, but ultimately Vendetta, they will have to commit to something pretty quickly. There's only a minute remaining on the clock, or not even a minute remaining on the clock, and and all 5 of the defenders are still up. So that means basically every single angle is still being watched, and there's no easy opening. But Pickles has been overwhelmed by basically being outflanked, and now blue is going to be the, you know, the push that, or that's where the push is going to be happening from. Zag attempting, you know, firing a heck of a lot, not getting too much down. Limbo kind of stuck in his skip tunnel. There are a pair of feet right there, and Gion will be facing, bullets basically. Even though Limbo with the Toxic Babes was the one to actually get the kill. Autobot with the diffuser is now in Arsenal room. He will try to plant, but the thing is, if the Evil Eye sees him, he is going to be toast. He is not going to plant though, and somehow Zag does survive to this. Now with 13 seconds remaining on the clock, he does not seem to know where his opponents are going to be. Fawn over there is also providing adequately good covering fire to the right. You now know exactly where Autobot is. But it looks like Zag is still unaware. If he didn't know now, he must absolutely go to the left. He is still not dead. But with only 11 bullets on the mag, he will have to reload pretty quickly, and that would likely be a suicide mission. He does get the kill, but the Alda is now officially empty. Reloading will take a significant chunk of the remaining time that he has. He did do it though, and now it will be a 1v1 situation. Low as he is, Fawn is likely to get the kill only, you know, by pre-firing the on his ankles. He has to push in, has to go for the kill, and he does, but that does not pan out his way. Fawn finally, eventually, inevitably, could I say, getting the final kill, the much needed final kill, and therefore winning for Vendetta Esports yet another round. Scorelines are now 2-1, but of course, A team does have the upper hand simply because an odd number of rounds have been played. If, you know, the historical data should stay true, I would totally expect the orange team, Hostile Actions, to win the next round and to keep the scores as tight as possible. Ne vous arrêtez pas sur cette marche ainsi. RC, c'est un jeu qui se joue sur le mental et le bien-être psychologique. Allez, Hostile Actions! Qui dit, je suis dyslexique. Ben non, ben non. Si vous pensez que vous ne valez pas grand-chose, vous ne trouvez personne pour augmenter votre prix. That is also really, really true. Okay, so this was round number 3. But, you know, like I said, you will not be surprised, or I didn't say this, but it was, you know, of course, known by everybody. Hostile Actions, after having lost, they will attempt to defend the basement area yet again. Let's see if they can get a better result underway. And we will see what gives on that front. Wait, how and why does it say that castle has been banned? Excuse me. It's not castle, it's echo. How did I not spot that mistake in the overlay previously? There we have it. Now it makes so much more sense. Okay, so basement defense. There will be slight adjustments. For example, Devils will not be playing Valkyrie, but will be playing with Wamai instead. So how much of a change, how much of a change is the composition gonna cause to the way the match is actually played? I would say not too much. I mean, though you are giving up intel, Devil still does have, for example, the proximity alerts, so that is still, you know, a secondary gadget worth of intel, but it's still there. And I did not see the attackers or the defense actually getting too much intel off the Valkyrie cameras. Plus, you still do have Zag's Evil Eyes. They are not a primarily intel-based gadget, but it still does serve the secondary purpose of being a camera, you know? It looks like Pickles was able to get a nifty kill. I mean, it looks like he did get one, right? And now he will be a chased man. He will have to survive, and he will have to stay alive for as long as possible to just play for time at this point. Fawn seems to be extremely wary of basically everything. He's been spotted. The pings will be happening right here, and the wallbangs, therefore, are getting somewhat likely. So, thing is, Yeager here is caught in a cul-de-sac. There's only one way out, and that way out is now basically being watched by an air jab. So there's no easy answer here. Pickle can simply wait there and just expect the attackers to push him, which is likely to happen. I mean, Fawn is not gonna let a threat such as Pickle go unchallenged or unattended. He cannot just run downstairs and start attacking and just ignoring Pickle. That would be a grave mistake. But for the time being, Pickle is not really dangerous whatsoever. He knows, once again, he cannot peek through the doorway. And what else can he do? Well, not too much, because if he attempts anything, the air jab will get him on his back. And that's why he's kind of stuck there. But the good news is, on OBJ itself, Autobot has been fragged out, so that leaves basically Gian and Austin attempting to push out on the OBJ, so that's basically a 2v4 situation for the bomb site itself. Should Fawn be able to get the kill, of course, it would free him up, and it would be now a 3v4 situation on OBJ. But Pickles, even though he's not getting a kill, is still being instrumental in helping or in aiding his teammates on OBJ itself. Gian missing once, twice. Are you lagging, Gian? Yeah, his ping is spiking, unfortunately. Pickles has just detonated the air jab, but it looks like Fawn just thought it ignored him, which he had to do, because look at the timer. And now Austin, last player alive in a 1v4 situation. He got the first kill too, so if he clutches this, that's going to be an ace. With 17 seconds to go, he could try to plant, but that would be ill-advised, and he will be put down. It was a matter of time, because of course, it was not going to fly. Devils thus winning the round for her style actions, and exactly like I predicted, keeping the scores extremely close, extremely tied. So let's go for those nifty replays. And let's take a look at this round. It was extremely stagnant, right? So you get 2+ mage that dies extremely early on. That paints a big fat target on Pickle's back, but he will stubbornly stay alive. Not getting too many kills though, of course, right? But that was really good as far as time play is concerned, because Fawn was paralyzed by him. He was holding the angle, not looking to get him killed, or not looking to get himself killed, but still having to do what he realistically can to get Pickle out of the way or take Pickle out of the picture. That didn't happen. Timer ran out, so they had to rush in last second desperately, and it almost looks like pushing the actual objective was an afterthought, right? After how much energy and time had put into flushing out Pickle, and that didn't work out. So what can you do? Well, not too much. That's what we just witnessed. So your CCTV defense will be up once more, because that is to be expected when you have a back and forth situation like we're seeing right now. JD reinforcing, electrifying these two walls without any surprise in the world. Pats has reinforced the left hand wall, Devil's now the right side, like we see right here. Limbo did reinforce that side right here, and this wall. And which other one would get a reinforcement? Because, oh, JD still has one in his inventory, because I would expect like this wall right here to be reinforced, but for some reason it is not going to be the case, so far at least. And at this point it is becoming somewhat late to actually start reinforcing all of those walls. Still, the opening moves, of course, are always the exact same, but this time you do have JD right here. He could even bandit tricks. That is going to be huge. That is huge, and that is likely to cause a reaction here. Autobot, of course, turning around, he is going to be attempting to challenge through the main door, but the defense was expecting this, so Devils and JD himself, no, JD is just pulling back, so Devils will be absolutely ready to provide some stiff resistance and not give up the garage area so easily. Bandit, he won't have to get back on side, because ultimately it would be nice if he could do bandit tricks or something along those lines. Austin does get the kill on him ultimately, so that is going to be pointless basically, but JD was not meant to be a roamer. He was just playing off-site and had to get back. He got caught off guard, he got caught off, yeah, sure, that happens, but your actual roamer, your true danger, flanking danger, is still up. And, just looking at the kills, Pickles so far has 4 kills and 3 deaths. He is maybe not the most prolific fragger out there. Oh, actually, it looks like he is the top fragger for his team. So, yeah, the biggest danger, frags-wise, is still at large and is still unaccounted for. As far as I can tell, he has not been droned out. And looking at the positioning, oh, it looks like Austin is... No, Austin was not looking his way. Oh, so Pickles, if you just pushed in, you would have a fairly easy kill. And you probably want to do this pretty quickly, because Devils will be overrun pretty quickly. We can see he's making his moves, but he's doing that pretty passively. There you have it. Gian getting the kill. Pickle getting a first kill. Looking for a double, but this time around his position will be known and he will be expected. Doc being, dispatched in the meantime. Therefore, if he loses any health, it will be irrecuperable. He will not be in a position to recover said lost health. Gian getting a kill on Zag, now a 2v4 situation, and control over bomb side is now really narrow. There is going to be Thermite right here, and Pickle peeking right into the line of bullets, not receiving anything, any damage to himself in return somehow. And tempting as he may. Fawn will be losing a lot of health, but he is still alive, and Diffuser still got planted. Oh, running out like he does. That's going to be dangerous. He is not going to get the kill. And here you have Thermite head glitching, getting a first, looking for a double. Pats is going to be receiving a lot of damage dealt to himself, but he is still stubbornly alive. That will not hold for much longer, though. Gian putting a brilliant end to the round. Those rappel games are really strong. Though he was not the hero that got the diffuser planted, I mean, if Fawn did that, so if it was the same player that actually got the diffuser planted and now getting a nice double kill to put an end to the round, that would have been a huge contribution to the team. Even though we're still talking about two separate players, as a team, they still did really good, and the back and forth just keeps on going. That was a blue victory. And looking at their historical winners of the rounds, blue, orange, back and forth. No team being capable of getting a decisive advantage to, against their opponents. That is quite reminiscent of yesterday, actually. If some of you were there at the same stream yesterday, same time, it was the exact same situation. Vendetta also playing, also starting an attack on the exact same map. They're just playing against a different opponent. That's the only difference between tonight and yesterday's stream. And so if I was to keep on predicting something, 33 situation for the rule swap. Then what we saw yesterday was it was against Arsenal Esports. Arsenal winning 3 rounds in a row when they do start attacking, which prompts a 63 situation, and then Vendetta winning 5 rounds in a row, back to back to put an end to the game in overtime, basically with flawless comeback happening. Is this match going to play out exactly like the one I just described? Well, it would be quite surprising, simply because, mathematically speaking, the odds are quite small. It might still be happening. I just, realistically don't expect the match to play out like I just described it. Still, it would be a crazy coincidence, if I can put it this way. But once again, these are not the same teams playing off against each other. So even though the performances are really good, there are still going to be major differences between both play styles. Your roamer still is going to be making an appearance. So Pickle in utility room, blue arsenal room. For the time being, his job is basically to avoid detection, to remain loose. And JD is going to be going through playing aggro. That is Autobot. Actually, your hard breaching capabilities severely limited. And it looks like Austin had not yet, as I say this, he does manage to breach the ceiling and therefore destroy the Mute Jammer and or Bandit Batteries, was Mute Jammer, to enable Gian to breach the main wall. From that point on, what is going to be happening? Good question, because it's always the same thing, right? Gian holding the angle, probing, trying to push in. Then you're also going to be likely having some amount of pressure being exerted from construction. Like I said, it's happening right as we speak. There's an EDS device, however, so that grenade will not detonate. And this time, however, it looks like Vendetta are not necessarily ignoring, but purposefully not committing any resources to a garage side push. So this run right here in an individual setting is somewhat different to what we saw last time around. Toothless getting a nifty kill on Limbo, looking for another one. There is somebody in the eastern stairs, landing, but Zag will not be peeking too aggressively. There is no threat at the at the foot of the stairs, so therefore he can just turn around and look at the construction opening. But that will be JD. Concussed as he is, he does get a nice kill, or he deals a lot of damage, not getting the actual kill rather. So he is proving to be extremely stubborn, staying alive, right here. He does see Zofia, does get the kill. There's somebody right here, however. He does push out. Oh, that is going to be crazy aggressive. Oh, he does not get it. That would have been amazing. Gian, low on health, Fun still get the diffuser planted. He will be refragged immediately. Zach and Devils both getting a kill in rapid succession. Now Gian, extremely low on health, will have to protect said planted diffuser, and that does not happen. Like I said, hostile actions, keeping the back and forth alive and getting a 3-3 scoreline for the roll swap. Things are looking extremely similar to yesterday. I do repeat myself, but the similarities are absolutely striking. So let's go for those replays. Here we have them. And let's think about what just happened here, because this was, you know, the first half of the game that's been played, and nobody decisively getting an advantage. Vendetta yesterday, they said, you know, they won, so they got an interview, and they said something along the lines of they were taking this easy, not that they thought it was in the bag, but they kind of underestimated their opponents, and they had to actually pay a bit more attention, and that's when they got the game back going, right? That's not exactly going to be too easy here, and the same thing cannot really hold true, actually, because, you know, Vendetta, they are playing against a team that is technically higher ranked than them on the current standings of the tournament. Therefore, you cannot really say, or I really do not expect them to be taking this game lightly. And, you know, the underlying reasons behind the situation right here may be different, but the outcome still is, you know, strikingly similar. Je sais pas si vous êtes sur ma POV quand le capito va planter, mais je suis avec... Non, Zach, luckily for you, we didn't look that way. So, of course, Vendetta are not defending, so the rule swap occurred. And Vendetta, unlike hostile actions, will be defending Church first and foremost. Unlike yesterday. Yesterday, they went CCTV first. So both teams are proving that they are quite capable of adapting. You know, Vendetta here not doing the expected thing if they were to be scouted out by hostile actions, or, you know, yesterday things didn't work out too well for them, so they're going to be doing their best to just mix things up, generally speaking. And let's see how exactly they do play. Because, for example, Fond, you know, Pulse could be a roamer. Of course, Pulse is not going to be roaming on that specific bomb site, but he could have been. Toothless here is not going to be roaming either, so that's once again something I would not on paper expect, but we know how these teams play, so it is, you know, not surprising in the slightest. Gian and Autobot, of course, not roaming either, so Austin's going to be your lone, you know, your lone mobile operator. He is the only one that is likely to be a headache for the attackers, but a headache that gets quickly dispatched. Somehow, he is going to be evading, you know, those wall bangs, but ultimately... no help is coming. We all know that. So Limbo, even though he kind of missed here, and I did burp while talking, sorry about that. Even though he missed a few first few shots, ultimately it doesn't really matter. Pickles has been killed though, and where exactly did he die from? Because we did not witness that particular death. Oh, and that's not even been reinforced. Wow. Okay. Was somebody rushing up here? Because Austin didn't get the kill, did he? Am I that dumb? One thing is for sure, Fawn will be feeding incel. He does have the natural cell, but those silhouettes are still moving way too much to be a suitable, to make the natural cell plan suitable. Devils here will be attempting to open up the reinforced hatch. Gian might want to play the impact nade tricks. He is going to do that. He gets them destroyed. That is good. And Devils here, he is down to his last Excaro, so I would assume that means he reached the hatch right here. Yeah, he did. And therefore, you know, usually you would say, oh, the defender only has 2 impact nades, whereas Hibana has 3 Excaliburs. So if you play the attrition game, Hibana is likely to win it out. This time, it is not going to hold true. But he just missed. He didn't destroy a single one here. Oh, how unfortunate. That is going to put basically the defense on the back foot. Now you do have a very clear line of sight or entryway into the objective. Plus, Limbo is going to realize that this was not reinforced. So who exactly is it going to be? Gian, but there was another silhouette, right? Yeah, Fon's right here. He will be the first line of defense as far as their tunnel is concerned, but he's pulling back fairly easily. Apparently, he doesn't want to get bogged down in a firefight for that specific tunnel. Zag, unfortunately, not hitting a single shot, though he has a fairly clear line of sight. Devils is actually going to be the one that gets the job done. And it looks like Autobot is rushing up. He does get a nice kill, but there was a second one right here. Thermite undetected until it is too late. Zag will have to drop down. Somehow he gets flashed, and that will be the end of him. But that refrag happens immediately. 2 seconds to go. He has to get the kill, but that will not happen. Vendetta Esports winning round number 7. So right here, we will have the difference between today and yesterday's match. Vendetta Esports will actually keep the back and forth going, rather than being, you know, the victims of a small momentum and small outburst of energy from their opponents. So we have yet another long message. Lorsque vous avez la difficulté à comprendre un problème ou une notion, il est bien de persévérer. Cependant, l'acharnement à résoudre une difficulté entraîne souvent une baisse de la motivation et une diminution de vos habiletés à résoudre les problèmes. Persévérez, mais faites-vous aider ou prendre une pause si votre difficulté persiste. If I was to give my personal experiences with, you know, problem solving or something, you know, quite similar or linked to what you just said here, when I was working in, you know, in the industry, it was actually an internship. You're no longer just a student. You're no longer just, you know, doing homework for the sake of learning things. You're actually trying to be productive, and the business that is, you know, hiring you, actually they do want to make money off of you working for them. You know, that's the exchange, right? You allow me to earn money, and then I'll be paying your salary. And the golden rule there was, if after 10 minutes you're still stuck, then it is worth asking for help, no matter what it is. I myself, I'm an IT say specialist, so I specialize in the IT field. And if you have a bug or there's, you know, something you can't get done, if you've been waiting for 10 minutes, at this point you might still find the answer on your own, but it is unlikely that it's going to be done in a reasonable amount of time. So you're better off asking somebody else for help. You will be reducing his productivity, but you're reducing his productivity less than you yourself would be reducing your own by just stubbornly trying to find the error on your own. And oh, that angle, I guess I knew it was technically possible, but I never saw it actually being used. I mean, there's only one Excarios remaining. Devils will now know that they have to send an anti-roamer up there to make sure to protect the second burst of pellets that will be tossed. Actually, it will likely not even be shot, because of course you do want to keep the 2 remaining ones to open up the left-hand side of the wall. Gian has lost a fair bit of health, and I couldn't actually tell you. Oh yeah, that's exactly where it came from. And at this point, right, everything is quite predictable. Oh gosh, here Zag apparently barely missing out on a kill. But still, he's going to be probing, not finding too much. And what else can we say here? The roaming game is never too prevalent. I mean, the map, of course, is not too roamer friendly as a whole. But Austin will be here in the oil pit, so that's quite interesting. For example, Zag is going to breach here this, the garage wall. It's going to be a commitment to make, right? Because, for example, he could no longer rotate and open up, say, construction. Devils? Oh, that is interesting. Remotely opening up that line of sight will put Toothless in really hot waters. He is still alive, still fairly unchallenged, but let's say one thing. He is basically paralyzed. He cannot move for the life of him. That rotation, oh, the ADS device will save his butt. Of course, Devils was holding the cross angle, and that is going to be a really good team cohesion. At that point, Toothless Mage was done for. He couldn't do anything. Ultimately, Austin's patience is going to pay off. He does get the kill on Limbo, but gets refragged immediately, so it's going to be a life for a life traded. Not the best use of your players ever, but still, on paper, he did do a reasonable, you know, contribution to his team to, you know, get closer to the victory. There is still going to be Fawn over here, and he can use that shield basically as a mirror window. He is just going to miss out on the kill. But if he was to rush in crazy aggressive, he could actually get the frag on the planet diffuser. But no, Gion will get that with a nifty natural assault. Fawn also getting killed in rapid succession, leaving us with a 2v2 situation. A lot of utility has been expanded by the defense to deny that planet diffuser. Diffuser, of course, has been lost, but should we get a hold of the, you know, the lunchbox the second time around, say Devils here, JD here, doing exactly what I expect him to be doing, it would be so much more difficult to deny that plant. And right here, there is going to be Fawn, who will be taking a last bullet to the face from Devils, JD doing the exact same thing to Autobot, and Hostile Actions winning yet another round, keeping stubbornly the back and forth going. At this point, I'm just going to be saying the exact same thing I said yesterday. Both teams are really tight, really close. And, you know, if you see, for example, to make the example extra obvious, if you see a 6-1 situation, of course, the team that is winning 6 points, that has the 5 points lead, is quite unlikely to get the comeback down, right? It is still possible to see a 5 rounds comeback to bring this into overtime and then winning the game, but it is, realistically speaking, unreasonable or not too likely to actually happen. And the more tight the games both teams are, the smaller the gap between between the two contenders needs to be to have any recuperable or to have a point of no return type of gap between the two teams. So right here, by having the scores or by having the skill level basically extremely tied, the thing that I do want to point out here is, should Vendetta or Hostile Actions win, say, 2 rounds in a row and have a 2 points lead, since nobody so far were able to win 2 points in a row, that would be a lead big enough to guarantee that, well, that hypothetical team would probably win the game. I said the same thing yesterday, and then Digitla Esports were able to win 3 rounds in a row, and then Vendetta did the same thing. So maybe I'm going to be proven wrong yet again, but so far, it seems to keep on going. Of course, the defense having lost on CCTV previously, another defense here will happen right after that, aka right now. But, you know, you all saw this. I mean, I'm just stating the obvious at this point. I really did like how Devils used up his X-Kairos remotely, or, you know, from afar. And that will be used to get a nice kill on Fawn, doing the exact same thing as before. That was way too predictable in my humble opinion. I mean, for example, I might be... yeah, of course, you cannot get the same angle from that run out right here, but say if you were to run out from here, you could probably get it. I'd have to experiment this on my own. That would be quite interesting. So, Gian right here is going to be receiving a lot of flash grenades. In and of itself, since JD was dead, Zofia could no longer just breach from below. Yeah, that took me way too long to figure out the word below. Still, you know, flash grenades and Plan B worked out just as well. So ultimately, the adaptability here of Hostile Actions is you know, really good. You have to commend them for that. Devils will be doing the exact same thing as last time. However, I would expect it to be, you know, I would expect Vendetta to know and to react accordingly, right? Autobot knowing holding this angle is not going to be considered a moot point, and therefore he drops down by Oil Pit, and we'll be holding a nifty angle on the main stairs. Somebody is likely to run up there. I mean, if you want to push garage, you will have to go up the stairs, and Doc, is likely going to have the advantage of surprise as far as that firefight is concerned. And for example, you know, Zag is not going to toss the drone down in Oil Pit because he would have to take the long route back. So right here, Thermite now realizes the garage is virtually empty, but that is, you know, meant to lure the attackers in. Autobots. Oh no, he's been droned out. How unfortunate for him. So now here, what will happen? Limbo, for example, will be expecting him by blue. And Doc seems to know that somebody has dropped down there as well. He will be healing himself. Goddamn hiccups. He'll be healing himself, I assume. But for the time being, he's going to paralyze down there, right? There's no easy way to come back up. He might still take the main stairs, but that would mean, you know, going the long route back, like I said about the drones earlier. Toothless will be receiving a grenade, nothing too major. Pickles is also going to be, you know, facing a few bullets, nothing too major, but Zag is not touching the diffuser. And oh, that distraction was ill-timed. I don't even believe the defenders realized the diffuser was planted. Well, maybe they did, but it was too late. You know, and Autobot still being basically out of the picture. Gian being the, you know, facing bullets from the wrong way. Austin gets a nice kill, but still, you know, Doc has to get back on side pretty quickly here. And right now, at this point, the defensive setup from the attacking team, quite ironic, isn't it? It is going to be so good that it's going to be extremely unlikely that Hostile Actions lose that round. Austin here is nonetheless going to have to attempt it at the very least. And 2 of them line up. He could even get a triple kill. What are they doing? That's gonna be a quad kill! Wait, if he gets the kill, that's an ace! But no, it's too late, I believe. If he does get it, it's gonna be by the skin of his teeth. I cannot tell you if he's gonna have it. Hostile Actions winning round number 10, and that was technically an ace, but he did not finish off the last player. So close, so nice of a round, but unfortunately for Vendetta Esports, it is still gonna be a Hostile Actions win. Oh wow, what a round. What a round. That round had me fired up. That is for sure. Let's take a look at this. It's all started with Fawn being too predictable. So Fawn, I would suggest that you try to be a bit more innovative with your runouts. For example, I did look at it from third person, but it looks like a runout from strip could maybe work the same. You'd be a far, greater distance away, so you realistically might want to have the ACOG on you. Maybe play Rook or Doc, or basically, swap play styles with Autobot, for example, right? Who was playing Doc? That's what I'm referring to him. But unfortunately, the rest of the round was really, really predictable. It was the same thing as we saw 2 rounds ago. However, this time Vendetta knew what was coming, right? For example, speaking about Autobot, who was playing Doc on Garage Catwalk, he knew once he was receiving those flash grenades what was coming next, right? Concussion grenades, fire, and then he would die due to Devil's remote opening from the garage reinforcement, indoor reinforcements. So that was a good response. He did get bogged down. That was unfortunate, but ultimately Vendetta responded adequately. Still, it was just, barely not enough. Wait, that was... well, give me a half a second here. That was Austin getting the ace. Okay. So after that, Vendetta, they have lost 2 rounds in a row, so they're going to be going church again. And oh my gosh, JD being extremely aggressive, taking Fawn out. And Fawn was kind of your roamer, and he was supposed to play quite aggressive. It is somewhat surprising though, because of course your pulse usually is going to stay on site, even though he does make for a great roamer. He also does make for an extremely good, anchoring operator who's just going to be feeding himself to his team, and he's going to know where the push is going to be coming from. Therefore, the odds of Pulse getting caught off guard are so low, and yet it somehow happened right here. But the early stages of the round will be over with pretty quickly. That will destroy likely destroy the pest, and therefore the other drone, was it Limbos or Pickle is sending a drone from the other angle. They are not going to realize exactly who is there. For example, you have Toothless and Austin, both of them being in dead angles, and therefore they're somewhat likely to retain their advantage of surprise, or advantage of numbers at the very least. I don't expect Hostile Actions to be inherently assuming that 2 players are here. That fire is nicely tossed. Austin will have to rotate out, but Toothless is still there, and still there's no real way of knowing that Austin's no longer there. So, and that could be Toothless revealing himself. Austin, of course, back on track. The unfortunate news is all around them, the other defenses are kind of crumbling. So you do have still your 2 defenders holding blue, but Gian is basically left on his own devices to defend the remainder of both bomb sites, which is a great daunting task. It looks like Toothless has attempted to run up Oil Pit, and that, of course, didn't work out too well for him. Here, Gian facing against 2 opponents. He does not even get a single one, leaving us with Austin in a 1v4 situation. He is going to inflict a great deal of pain to Pickle, but nothing too major. And how did they not know he's there? That could be another triple kill. He is still on his way to get another ace, if I am not wrong. That was the fuser loss for the defense, for the attack rather. But of course, it gets recovered pretty quickly. It gets planted all the way back there. He does see the edge of the foot though, or is it the knee? Anything, something along those lines. Still, he's going to be peeking from the other angle, and unfortunately, Zag is going to get that kill. It was kind of delayed because we had yet another ban wave coming from Battle Eye, but it still ended up popping up in the kill feed. So let's go for those replays. And at that point, I would say the end of the round or the end of the game seems to be imminent. Hostile Actions have won now 3 rounds in a row. They have a 2 points lead compared to Vendetta Esports. So, you know, it's kind of exactly what I said. Do you realistically expect Vendetta to be able to win 2 rounds in a row to bring this into overtime, and from that point win, you know, 2 out of 3 rounds? If so, well, they still do have a 2-standard chance at winning. If not, well, by extension, basically Hostile Actions have already won. And so far, the unfortunate news is I have not seen Vendetta basically displaying anything that should lead me to believe that they will be winning, you know, 2, 3, 4 rounds in a row to bring this in overtime and win it from there on. So best of luck to them, of course, right? It's never too late to start innovating, to turn things around and to show prizes. But should the current trend keep on continuing, well, things would be looking pretty dire for them. With all that being said, still, round number 11, it is going to be, and they have yet to win, you know, a second defense. They won their very first in church, but that was 4 rounds ago, so of course they can go church again. They could like to go to soft floor, CCTV, or even bedroom. I believe they did this yesterday. Yep, they did this yesterday. They went bedroom to throw their opponents off guard, and it worked. That was where they began their win streak, right? It does not look like they'll be doing the same thing tonight, however. So let's see what gives. The competition is ever evolving. Luckily for him, this time around, Fawn is not going to die so early into the round, but the roaming game is still going to be quite prevalent. You know, Austin is there. Toothless is also going to be present. And it looks like the attackers are also responding to the call. So JD, for the time being, running in circles. Let's see exactly what or where. Oh, he is looking for Toothless. And have they been droned out? Had they been, you know, identified? Might, because you don't typically, you know, shoot blindly there. Oh yeah, there's a drone right here. Okay, so those pre-fires were made, you know, consciously of what was happening. And they did serve their purpose. Ultimately, it was enough to flush out the defenses. Fawn droning from the, or, you know, using the cameras from OBJ itself. Toothless Autobot, of course, also going to be sticking on or around the bomb site, and therefore you basically have no roamers whatsoever. So, you know, Limbo and his teammates will be making absolutely sure nobody's above them, but it's just a matter of droning it out, realizing there's nobody there, and now you can, you know, proceed with attacking the bomb site itself. Devils is quite likely to begin with the hatches. Let's see what exactly he is going to be looking at or looking for. You know, the camera, should there be a Valkyrie cam or something along those lines? But then, you know, my personal question was, you ran right by the stocks hatch. Why not breach it open in the process? And the answer, with, you know, the advantage of foresight, seems to be quite obvious. If he wants to lose 1 or 2 pellets to the impact matrix, he'd want to have a few remaining. So that's why he probably was not using his X-Karoses on stocks, you know, first and foremost. We also had another kill in the meantime, so Austin dying. That's now a 3v5 situation for the match point situation. That is really, really not looking good for Vendetta. Tossing it blindly, that is unfortunate, because of course nobody was even remotely close. So Fawn was so unlikely to get any kills down here. That is unfortunate, leaving us with now a 2v5 situation. And Autobot losing a lot of health. He has 3 kills and 10 deaths. His track record is not looking too well here, and, you know, his chances of survival, if we were to look at those stats, aren't too, you know, impressive. Leaving us with Fawn, last player alive. He does get 1, but still he has 4 more to go. Barely missing Zag here, rotating back, but that angle is also likely to be held by Capital, but Pickle was unaware somehow. And you now have a 1v3, 1v2 situation, if you were to consider that Zag was incapacitated by the fact that he was planting the diffuser, but said, you know, inaction is now going to be over. Plus, it doesn't matter because Devils actually gets the kill. So it is unfortunate that you did lose Toothless at the beginning of the round, and therefore, you know, basically it was a 4v5 that was unwarranted. I couldn't tell you exactly why he left or what prompted that. Did he rage quit? Was it due to technical problems? Anything is still possible, right? But still, that inherent disadvantage was, you know, ill-welcomed. That is for sure. Leaving us with, you know, the expected outcome, 4-7 situation. Okay, just like yesterday, though the outcome wasn't the same for blue team. It was a back and forth until one team was able to find a weakness and to exploit it into their opponents, and then everything fell apart. But for the first half, for the first, you know, solid moments into the game, things were looking extremely tight. So I'd like to say GG's to Vendetta. They did their best, but Hostile Actions ended up taking the cake. So real quick, we will be conducting the interview pretty quickly, but I just want to type in the scores because I have realized that sometimes I forget to do them, on stream, and then it takes like a week or two before I realize that, hey, that score has actually not been typed in. So that is like the unfortunate thing here. Can you reload? Looks like something went wrong. Yeah, I see that. Battlefight, can you please work? Okay, thank you. And it was the match between Hostile Actions and Vendetta Esports, which saw a 1-0 maps-wise and score-wise 7-4. Okay, so now that this is done, let's try to get an interview going. So let me just jump into the public voice channel and invite the players. Invite the players, just DOMs. Let's ask them if they want to do an interview. Let's also send this to the, maybe not the coach, because he wasn't the actual player. And he might even still be watching the stream, so that might spoil him, but I would assume he is going to be in a voice call with his team. Yeah, so that was just Dom. Let's send it to a few more players. Oh, but hey, Patriots is here.
Hey, what's up?
Doing pretty well. How are you doing, man?
Doing good, man.
You just won, so you do have
Yeah.
a good reason to feel amazing.
Yeah,
Let's talk about this game real quick. It was quite interesting. Looking
Yeah.
at it, the beginning half, it was a back and forth. Nobody was able to win 2 or 3 rounds in a row, and the scores were like really, really tight every single round. And then at the 8th round, you were able to just get a streak going, winning 4 rounds in a row and putting it into the game. What gave in, or what did you just figure out then to start winning your rounds?
On the attack side,
Yep.
I think it's because our attack is stronger than our defense. Like we got some problem with our strats on defense, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to work on that. Then for the attack, I don't know, man. We're just doing the same thing every single time. So, we're used to it. Like we know how to attack.
Okay, so basically you were really consistent when it came to attacking. So if I was to look at it the other way around, the attack was how it's supposed to be. So it wouldn't more or less be on the defense that you made some mistakes and that the result that you were not expecting was happening, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And when I talk about what your difficulties on defense are,
I can't say. No, I don't know. Maybe our rooming. Need to work on that. Man, I don't know. I don't know our mistake. We need to
that's
bud.
that's fine. Plus, I wouldn't want you to like expose what your weaknesses are to just tell them to the world, hey, this is what you want to do what you have to do if you want to counter us. So let's look at it from another way. You said your attacks are really strong, and I do want to say I really do like how you used Hibana on CCTV to open up the wall from the half roof to garage, and that would allow you to flush out dog every single time, and that worked really well. It is nothing too surprising because ultimately you didn't reinvent the wheel, right? But that small innovation works really well, I gotta say. And that allows you to, like I said, flush out garage, push in from there, and get the diffuser planted. So on that front, congratulations for figuring this out, because that's actually huge. That's really nice to see.
Yeah. Guys, if you're taking garage, it's basically a free plant.
Oh yeah. Taking garage, that's getting the diffuser planted. One thing, however, round number 9, you won it by the skin of your teeth. Like, Austin did get an ace on you. Well, it was only a quad kill, but the last one, Capitao, was down but not out, so the kill would have been gotten.
Yeah, that was a mistake, definitely. But man,
Want to talk about this round?
Had time to defuse it, but
Yeah, he didn't have to, but that came very close.
yeah.
Honestly, like my eyes were going from the time that was remaining to the time that he still needed to defuse. You know, the two timers that you have on the spectator UI, and the difference was milliseconds apart. I could not, you know, move my eyes from the one timer to the other and know which one was a higher number, because, you know, the few milliseconds it takes to move my eyes, I couldn't tell which was bigger.
Yeah, that was way too close, man.
It was really close. Oh, Fawn did make an appearance. You didn't have to leave like that. Oh, well. Oh, well. So, yeah, that round, I do want to say, even though Vendetta lost, that was a highlight for them, absolutely. And,
Oh, yeah,
you know,
definitely.
sorry, but, like, you guys didn't get an A, so I didn't do anything this crazy. So, they are still going to be the team that I remember when I think about this match. But, at the end of the day, you do take the ace. Was that, are they an opponent that you were, like, confident to go up against, or did you think they were a you know, worthy opponent? Did you take the victory for granted, or did you think to yourself that you actually have to work for that to be sure to get the victory down?
I mean, we're pretty confident versus every single team, so. I mean,
Wait, are you first in the rankings so far?
I don't know.
Let me check real quick. So you have 12 points on the second round robin, and you have 21 on the first one. So yeah, you're quite likely still the first team.
Let's go.
So yeah, that is. So you're still keeping or holding tight to that first seed placement for the playoffs. Well, I think these are basically the questions that pop into my mind right now. So congratulations for your victory.
Thank you.
You only had a match this week, right? Because you had a free win against one of the teams that disbanded. Am I right? Correct me
Yeah,
if I'm
sadly.
wrong. Yes, so you just played you just played Vendetta, and you were playing Phoenix, right? So basically, you have two more matches before the playoffs, and then we will be good to go. At this point, basically, your spot in the playoffs is actually guaranteed, right? Even if you were to lose every single match, it is unlikely that you will fall fifth. So congratulations on that front. You will, of course, keep on fighting for the first spot. But,
Thank
you know, things are looking really well for you. That is absolutely certain.
Yeah.
All right. So, like I said, congratulations. I'll be leaving you here, not taking any more of your time. So, have an amazing rest of the night. And whenever you guys decide to schedule your matches next week, I will be there to cast them. At the very least, I hope so. But until then, have an amazing rest of the night, and see you again next week.
Yeah, you too, man.
See ya.
See you.
And that is going to be it for us tonight. So, like I said, amazing match here. Vendetta Esports, that was their second match. Hostile Actions, they had a free win against a team that disbanded, so we will not be seeing more of them this week, even though it was their first and only match. There is still another matchup tomorrow, same time. So tomorrow at 9, there is going to be the match between Mishmash and Dead Astronauts. This is also going to be a nice match. Actually, I said like every single game is going to be nice. Because the thing is, if you look, for example, at yesterday's game, Arson Esports, even though they're dead last in the rankings, they still gave a really stiff resistance. They lost by a narrow margin. It wasn't overtime after all, but they still lost. And if that happens every single game, well then, yes, of course, you're going to be labeled a poorly performing team, even though you still have good, you know, team performances. You know, the scorelines are just not going to reflect that. So tomorrow is likely to be one of those games where quite often you hear the players after a match saying, "Oh, we didn't play too well. We could do better. We are better than this." And let's hope for their sake that they will be, you know, on one of their good moments. I'm referring to, of course, Dead Astronauts. They will be playing against Mishmash Gaming, who also are a pretty good team. So, good job, everyone. Hope to see you guys all tomorrow, same time, same channel. Until then, just like I said to Patriots, have an amazing rest of the night, and see you all tomorrow. Take care, and bye-bye.
Second to go.